It's not time to make a change. Just relax, take it easy. You're still young, that's your fault. There's so much you have to know. Find a girl, settle down. And if you want, you can marry. Look at me, I am old, but I'm happy. I was once like you are now, and I know it's not easy to be calm when you found something going on. But take your time, think a lot. Why think of everything you've got? But you'll still be here tomorrow, but your dreams may not. And I try to explain, when I do, he turns away again. It's always been the same old story. From the moment I could talk, I was ordered to listen. There's a way, and I know that I have to go. I know I have to go. It's not time to make a change. Just sit down, take it slowly. You're still young, that's your fault. There's so much you have to go through. Find a girl, settle down. If you want, you can marry. Look at me, I am old, but I'm happy. All the times that I cried, keeping all the things I knew inside, it's hard, but it's harder to ignore it. They were right, I'd agree, but it's them, you know, not me. Now there's a way, and I know that I have to go away. I know I have to go. Good morning, everyone. Glad to have you here this morning, and I want you all to join us. Let's stand together as we sing Love Will Find a Way. Here we go, let's sing together. Be watching from a safe distance. You may be so close you can taste the blood. You may have headed for higher ground. You may be drowning in the flood. No matter what you do, love will find you. You may have lost what little faith you had. You may be eating all your heart. You may be pulling yourself together again. You may be falling apart. No matter what you do, love will find you. One of you sees that love's a long lost friend. One of you can recognize her face. One of you runs to her with open arms. One of you falls only one way through. You may be waiting for the kingdom to come. You may believe it's in you. No matter what you do, love will find you. What you do, love will find you. Love will find you. Love will find you. Thank you all for singing. Good singing.
Good morning and welcome to third week of school and a continuation of our theme of the ultimate guide to training parents. Let's pray. Holy One, as we gather and we think about all the changes that go on in families and in our own particular personal journeys as these days of fall begin to come, we turn our thoughts to recognizing how we might discover something new and different, not fall in the same paths again and again that sometimes lead to the same responses, the same stuck places in relationships, but learn. We know that all learning seems to involve having to discover, having to recognize the places that we need to face are falling short. But we also recognize that this whole life is such a gift, and the opportunity for growth in the journey is so rich that we can do nothing but give thanks. So that's our prayer. Thanks. Amen.
Take a moment and say hello to one another with signs of peace and love.
Peace, my brothers.
Good morning. Our reading today is from the 15th chapter of Luke, verses 1 through 10. Now all the tax collectors and sinners were coming near to listen to him, and the Pharisees and the scribes were grumbling and saying, "This fellow welcomes sinners and eats with them." So he told them this parable. "Which one of you, having 100 sheep and losing one of them, does not leave the 99 in the wilderness and go after the one that is lost until he finds it? When he has found it, he lays it on his shoulders and rejoices. And when he comes home, he calls together his friends and neighbors, saying to them, 'Rejoice with me, for I have found my sheep that was lost.' Just so I tell you, there will be more joy in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous people who need no repentance. Or what woman, having 10 silver coins, if she loses one of them, does not light a lamp, sweep the house, and search carefully until she finds it? When she has found it, she calls together her friends and neighbors, saying, 'Rejoice with me, for I have found the coin that I had lost.' Just so I tell you, there is joy in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner who repents."
One love, one heart, let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart, give thanks and praise to the Lord, and we will feel alright. Let's see if we can hear that together. One love, one heart, guitar there. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. As it was in the beginning, so it shall be forevermore. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Just your voices now. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and we will feel alright.
When we think about all the ways that we become shaped from the time that we're very young, very small, it seems funny to think about all of us coming together and singing one love, one heart, unless we are watching a football game. As I passed through Ruston yesterday, I stopped off to get some coffee at the Starbucks, and all of the servers had these little black things under their eyes that said "One Love," and I don't think they were talking about Bob Marley. I think there was a football game happening. Maybe just take a moment and close your eyes. What does it mean to feel all right? How is it that one love, one heart could make us feel all right? More often, we deal with the conflicts and the challenges of our relationships by just trying to turn down the volume, get some distance. We find ourselves entrenched in dynamics that never seem to change, over which we often become really numb. It's easy to be numb. We want to remember how to feel all right. Holy One, whatever it is that causes these dynamics to grow between families, within us, perhaps we could learn something, discover something that would give us a little bit of a way to learn how to love beyond the differences that divide us, to deal with them just a little differently. That's our prayer. That we not become comfortably numb.
Hello, is there anybody in there? Just nod if you can hear me. Is there anyone home? Come on, come on. hear you feeling down. I can ease your pain, get you on your feet again. Relax, relax. I need some information first. Just the basic facts. Can you show me where it hurts? There is no pain you are receiving. A distant ship smoke on the horizon. You are only coming through in waves. Your lips move, but I can't hear what you say. When I was a child, I had a fever. My hands smelled just like Toodaloo's. Now I've got that feeling once again. I can't explain, you would not understand. This is not how I am. I have become comfortably numb. Comfortably numb. Okay, just a little pinprick. There'll be no more. But you may feel a little sick. Can you stand up? Can you stand up? I do believe it's working. Good. That'll keep you going through the show. Come on, it's time to go. There is no pain you are receiving. A distant ship smoke on the horizon. You are only coming through in waves. Your lips move, but I can't hear what you say. When I was a child, I caught a fleeting glimpse out of the corner of my eye. I turned to look, but it was gone. I cannot put my finger on it now. The child has grown, the dream is gone. Comfortably numb.
Amen.
So we've got a song to teach you. And it's got an echo to it.
Nice, nice.
Hello. Oh, it's gone now.
Yeah, we got 2 parts for you guys to do on this song. And the song Flowers Are Red by Harry Chapin. We're going to split you into 2 groups. And the chorus is right there. So one of you be singing one chorus, the other be the other chorus. Let's see, this side right here is the teacher side. And the teacher sings, green leaves are green, there's no need to see. It goes like this. Let's make sure I'm in the right key. Thank you. You just play it, I'll sing it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Green.
Flowers are red.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. It's up the top. I was going. Yeah, that's not the title. That's actually the first line of the chorus. It should, say chorus up above there, but that's the dyslexia. Okay, here we go. You ready? Flowers are red. This side over on my right, and green leaves are green. There's no to see flowers any other way than the way they always have been seen. That's going to get more interesting than that. So what you guys have to do is you're the teachers, not your own teacher, and certainly not the teacher we hope is with your child, but you put your forefinger up in the air, and you point to these people over here, and if you'll go like this, flowers are red, you look at them, and green leaves are green, and you depict scenes of shame. There's no need to see flowers any other way than the way they always have been seen. But the little boy said, that's you guys over here? There are so many colors in the rainbow, so many colors in the morning sun, so many colors in a flower, and I see every one. Try with me.
With movements?
With movement. Oh my gosh. What move? Okay, anyway.
they're doing
Let's
that.
use our imagination. There. Rainbow, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Rainbow.
I think they've got movements.
Rainbow. So many in the morning sun. Okay, let's try that.
That's a little too much.
That's a flower. Colors
Getting a
in
little
flower.
carried away.
Yeah. And I don't want to.
Just a rainbow.
You're going like, we got the bad end of the stick on this one. Okay. All right, so we just do the rainbow. Just do the rainbow. You just let the spirit move you. Okay, here we go. But the little boy said, there are so many colors in a rainbow, so many colors in the morning sun, so many colors in a flower, and I see every one. All right, so y'all are doing those 2 parts. Okay. All right. And we'll do the verses, especially since they're not up there.
The little boy went first day of school. He got some papers and he started to draw. He put colors all over the paper, for colors was what he saw. The teacher said, what you doing, young man? I'm painting flowers, he said. But it's not the time for art, young man. And anyway, flowers are green and red. There's a time for everything, young man, and a way things should be done. You got to show concern for everyone else. You're not the only one. And she said, flowers are red and green leaves are green. And there's no need to see flowers any other way than the way they always have been seen. But the little boy said, there are so many colors in the rainbow, so many colors in the morning sun, so many colors in the flowers, and I see every one. Well, the teacher said you're sassy, there's ways that things should be, and you'll paint flowers the way they are, so repeat after me. And she said, flowers are red and green leaves are green, and there's no need to see flowers any other way than the way they always But the little boy said again,
There are so many colors in the rainbow, so many colors in the morning sun, so many colors in a flower, and I see everyone.
well, the teacher put him in a corner, said it's for your own good, and you won't come out till you get it right and are responding like you should. Well, finally he got lonely, frightened thoughts filled his head, so he went up to the teacher, and this is what he said. He said,
Flowers are red
and
green leaves are green,
and
there's no need to see flowers any other way than the way they always have been seen.
Of course, time went by like it always does, and they moved to another town. And the little boy went to another school. This is what he found. The teacher there was smiling. She said, painting should be fun. There's so many colors in the flower. Let's use every one. But the little boy painted flowers in 8 rows of green and red. And when the teacher asked him why, this is what he said. He said,
Flowers are red
and
green leaves are green, and there's no need to see flowers any other way than the way they always have been seen.
but there still must be a way to have our children say,
And let's say it together. There are so many colors in the rainbow, so many colors in the morning sun, so many colors in the flowers, and I see everyone.
thanks. You know, that song really seems to capture something that many of us experienced in education, didn't it? I mean, I think it's changing, though. I think gradually we're kind of getting a little bit wiser to the uniqueness of human beings and how every child needs that opportunity to kind of take it all in. And today, again, I'm going to focus for this lesson for those of you who are under 40 on how to train your parents. Once you are older than 40, your parents are untrainable. Not true. I think it's still possible. I was with my mother this weekend, and you know, I think I'm working on her. I'm still working on her. 76, but you know, there may be some changes yet. How we as children, and those of you who are younger children than me, work at training our parents is something that takes a lot of patience. Because, you know, you're going to probably have experiences with your parents that, you know, they have their way. They picked up their way from their parents in a lot of cases. And sometimes the way that they picked up, you just have to learn to forgive. It's just the case. There's a lot of things about what shape us as human beings that we don't get a lot of choice over. And so I think about my father, who is, to use the word nerd is an understatement. He grew up, he's got a master's in physics. He thinks with this scientific mind. Everything about him is very technical and analytical. I grew up with this, and I hated it for years. For years, I thought, why couldn't I get a cool dad? You know, who knew anything about baseball, who could even really, you know, get into some of the sports stuff that I wanted to get into. I thought, if I could just get a cool dad. And so finally, somewhere in my 20s or maybe early 30s, I finally began to forgive him for being who he was. Later, I began to discover, wait a minute, he might be able to help me with some computer issues I'm having. Little did I know that nerds would be the jocks of the 2014s, right? It's all changed, hasn't it? You never know how things are going to turn out, but one thing I know is often what we experience when we're growing up are these tensions that we have, wanting to have our own way, wanting to somehow get our part of life, and we struggle to get it. Sometimes we struggle with siblings, competing, trying to get love and attention, trying to get the blessing. Or sometimes we struggle just to try to get what we want. A little more freedom, a little more stuff. These competitions that grow out of our childhood often involve tensions with parents. You got to train parents if you want to really get to that place of freedom. And I'll tell you, the secret to training a parent is to really kind of train yourself. Like I said last week, most of the dynamics that I see for families where there's a lot of tension and stuff happening really has to do with a process that's natural to life. We as human beings start off needing help. From the time we're the tiniest beginnings, we are dependent on somebody to look after us. And during the course, from somewhere between 0 and 18, we are designed in this culture somehow to become self-responsible. And the challenge is that along that way, we have differences of opinion with those parents of ours about how much responsibility we are ready to take on for our own needs. Don't we? Did you have those issues? I had those issues. I was ready to take responsibility for my life full time by the time I was 5. It's like, thank you very much. I know you care about me. I know you want to look after me, but I'm fine. I could probably feed myself. I might be able to find shelter. I have a tent. I had lots of belief that I could manage on my own. You know, I didn't need your protection. I'll just be independent. Almost all of the struggles with parents, in my experience, have to do with that movement that's natural to all human beings, that we have to move from total dependency to some sense of independence. And that really requires that I take on the responsibility for my needs that are being cared for by my parents from the beginning. What becomes a problem, and this is the key to training your parents, is don't wrestle with them about these things. What happens when I begin to wrestle with my parents over me taking back or taking on the responsibility for my needs from them is they begin to sense that I am really not ready to take on responsibility for that, the more I wrestle with them about it. Instead, what we have to learn as kids is how to train our parents to give us the responsibility as we are ready to take it on, as we are ready to be responsible for it. And that is a little harder, because what it means is I have to become a little bit more aware of what I need and think about how I'm being responsible for it, and then show in a positive way rather than a negative wrestling way how I can do that. And the more I show that, this is the secret, the more my parents will kind of relax and they'll go, oh, I didn't know that you could do that. Well, fine. Take responsibility for that, because I can see that you are capable of that. I see a lot of disbelief on the eyes of parents. Has there been evidence to the contrary of this? I know there has in my life. Often, You know, responsibility isn't something that we think about as kids. Independence is what we think about. But you know, independence is responsibility. So there's an old example, and I want to show you this, because if you take a string off of a guitar, okay, I won't do it. But if I were to take a string off of this guitar, and I had the string in my hand, and I was waving it around, imagine that. I've got one string in my hand, and I ask you this question: which string is more free? The string in my hand that I'm waving around, or the string on that guitar? Which one's more free?
The one in your hand.
We have a difference of opinion. Well, some people might say it's the string in my hand that's more free, but the question is, what's it free to do? Well, it's free to twirl around. Now, let me ask you this. Would you rather be a string that's free to twirl around or a string to make music? See, the string that's making music is free to make music because it's strung in a tension between limits. So when I accept certain limits in my life and begin to say, I'm going to live in the tension of these limits, I become free to do things that I can't do otherwise. We sometimes think as kids, and I'm speaking as a 12-year-old right now, that to get free is the goal of our lives. But the question is always, free to what? Are you free to develop the kinds of skill and expertise and human connection that will make you a success for the rest of your life? Or are you simply not getting free to, but free from? Almost all movements of human energy that moves as a way to get free from stuff ends up discovering that they get attached to another set of limitations that are only another set of prisons. It will help if, as a kid, you begin to think about, what is it I want to be free to do, not what I want to be free from. Now, when I was 12, I thought, I want to be free from my brother. It was paramount in my life. I want to be free from my older brother. The reason for that was I followed him in school, in the same elementary school, and he was a straight A student and I was not. And so every teacher I encountered would say something to me like, you know, your brother was, or wouldn't have, or whatever. And so my experience of having grown up as the younger brother was always to feel like I was in his shadow. I just wanted to be free from being in his shadow, right? I didn't ask, what do I want to be free to do? If I could have asked that question, I might have discovered that what I wanted to be free to do would be to find my own special gifts that were different from his, to discover what it was that I had that was really particularly a talent and gift of my own, which clearly at the time was not studying history. Though I did fine. But to always be compared is to always feel some sense of criticism, and I wanted to be free from that. What happens as we grow older, as kids, we begin to learn that there's actually a gift in that criticism. What feels like it must be defended against when you're younger. I don't want to hear any criticism. Don't tell me what's not good with me. I want you to tell me everything that's good about me. And don't tell me anything that is not good about me. Because I want to have high self-esteem. I want to feel good about me. Well, feeling good about me may be great at the moment, but in the long term, if I don't get some feedback that gives me some good insight into things that aren't working in my nature, then I am going to become somewhat crippled through my life. The more I defend against those voices in my life that have something to say to me that say, think twice about this. Maybe you ought to rethink how you're doing that. The more I let myself listen to some of those voices without losing my sense of self, without losing me, the more I find myself able to grow and become more and more capable and learn. No one becomes skilled at an instrument like that excellent guitar solo that Brad played on that fabulous Pink Floyd song. I'm telling you, I looked out in the audience, there were several people having flashbacks. And in the hallway too. And that kind of skill doesn't come without getting some critique, right? It's in the tension that we live with parents and with siblings that there's this crucible that helps us define and learn. When that gets broken because we can't allow it to happen because we feel too criticized, we feel like it's too toxic, we become comfortably numb. We find ourselves not growing, not changing. If you want to train your parents well, a part of what you have to train them to experience of you is a child who is open to learning. When I, as a child, become closed to learning, I set off all kinds of alarms in the head of my parents. I'm training my parents not to think that I need more help. It happens not just for kids and their parents. This happens in marriages too. When we become numb to the input of our partner, often we send signals to the partner that we don't get it. And what happens? Our partner will begin to amp up and become more upset, more worried, more expressive, because they don't sense that we're taking it in. Okay, we get this one, right? I can move on? Okay, so last thought about how we might think about training our parents a little differently. Not only do we have to kind of recognize that our parents are shaped by their own upbringing, their own forces, and therefore we will need to sometimes be able to forgive who they are and the way they approach us and speak to us. And we may have to learn how to shape our own experience a little bit differently from them. And not only do we have to learn somehow in our own journey to find the limitations that fit for us so that we can resonate in our own particular way, but we also have to begin to recognize that the journey of becoming an adult is about moving from being child and parent to finding equal ground. I'll tell you a quick story. One of my favorite experiences of taking families out to have experiences has been taking them rappelling. I used to do this all the time. I had a whole set of ropes and all that stuff. I've quit doing it. I think the insurance had something to do with it. It said, maybe you shouldn't do that anymore. But I used to take groups all the time. We would go up, down, we'd all different places, but down in the green belt in Austin, there's some great bluffs where you can climb up, and then you hook onto your rappelling gear, and then you lean out over the side of a mountain, and you begin to lower yourself down with someone holding a rope from the top or the bottom, depending on how we did it. Fascinating. I watched families sometimes who had had lots and lots of conflict and lots of unhappy feelings, but when they got together to rappel and saw Dad going down the side of the mountain and saw Mom going down the side of the mountain and then Junior going down the side of the mountain, there's something equalizing about fear. When everybody's having an adventure together, when everybody's facing their own challenge, we are on the same field. there's not just a sense of parent and child, there's a sense of we are all connected in some even deeper way. We are a family, but we're all together, we're all connected. I often think that if you as a child or an adolescent want to train your parents, your best bet is to get them on a roller coaster at Six Flags. Or take them to a haunted house and share that experience. Whatever experiences that you have that you find exciting, introduce it to them. And somehow, when you play with your parents on the same things that you like to do, there's just some magic that happens. Because you see, what they really want, what parents really want, is to feel connected to you and to share in that connection. And somehow it helps. Somehow it helps with the tendency that families have to develop some resistance to your becoming your own person, to your moving into your own. See, parents really want to hold on to you sometimes because they like having you around. But that whole relationship during the journey is to transform into being two people who share in life together. And to rob yourself of that because of the wrestling that goes on is to really impoverish your life. And some of us have experienced that. We've had to go and find family in other places, and we discover the richness of relationships that can be such family to us. But I think most of us who've had that experience would look back and they would say to you, if you can possibly do it, find a way to keep that connection, even through the wrestling, even through the journey of having to try to find your own path. And maybe the way to do that is to consider how what you need right now isn't just freedom, but it's learning to be responsible for yourself. It's a journey that'll happen. It'll happen eventually. Do it in a dialogue with your parents. One last story, I had a daughter. I started doing this when she was 12. We started having family meetings twice a year. We would have a family meeting. It was awkward at first. She didn't like having family meetings. It felt like, what is this, like a board meeting? Family meetings? Are you kidding me? It felt too formal. We'd have a family meeting and we would sit down right after Christmas and right after school got out every year till she graduated high school. And we would talk about, what do you need? And what do I need? What do we need? And how could we make agreements that support each other's needs? And, at first it was stuff like, she wanted more money. And she wanted a later curfew. And, I wanted her to babysit her younger sister and keep her room clean. Stuff like that. But we made agreements, right? Because what I wanted as a parent to teach my child to do was to learn how to make agreements and hold up their end. Because I know if they can learn to do that, get their needs met by making agreements with other people that support other people's needs and hold up their end of that bargain, that she was going to be successful in life, because that's how we relate as human beings in this world. More than her just obeying my authority, what I wanted her to learn to do was to make good agreements and be good at it. And so we started doing it, so twice a year. And once we set an agreement, it was set for 6 months. We'll renegotiate in 6 months. That's important, parents, because otherwise that curfew gets renegotiated every night, right? So that doesn't feel good. So you make agreements that support everybody's needs. And so as we made agreements, she began to get more money. We gave her more money. But we also made her responsible for more of her needs. So now she was not only responsible for her little money that she would go to a movie with her friends, but she was responsible for buying her clothes and her beauty products. So we gave her a fair amount more money. She was excited. She had lots of money. But guess what? She started going to resale shops. She wanted to go find money. She wanted to find clothes that she could afford and still have some money left over. She began to be much more thoughtful about how she was managing money. Now, what am I doing as a parent? I am helping teach her how to be responsible for her own needs. That's my job. And her job is to learn and to take that responsibility. And when she messed up, like she came home 10 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock, there was no real punishment. We simply said, okay, you used to be responsible when you would come home at 9 o'clock, and now that we moved it an hour later, it seems to not be working. So we'll just move it back to where you were able to be responsible. And as you show us you can be responsible, we'll begin to do that again. It's all about how do we as kids and parents learn to make agreements with each other that support this process of taking on responsibility and becoming self-responsible people. And that's the journey, because the roots that you live with will give you wings. If we don't get into a wrestling match, if we don't find ourselves in punitive and defensive stances that keep us from wanting to learn anything, if we don't become uncomfortably numb. Every person in this room has a unique gift, has a unique thing to offer the world. We can shape it. We can bring it forth from each other with loving support that holds into tension those things that we have as values, but that gives responsibility for each person to find that themselves. Amen.
Last week we did this song as a special. We want to invite you all to stand and sing it with us this morning as our offering song. And if you have an offering, bring it forward while we're all singing.
You who are on the road must have a code that you can live by, and so become yourself, because the past is just a goodbye. Teach your children well, their father's hell did slowly go by. And feed them on your dreams, the one they picked, the one you'll know by. Don't you ever ask them why, if they told you you will die, just look at them and sigh. And know they love you. Your elders grew fiery and say that with your youth they seek the truth before they can die. Teach your parents well, their children's hell will slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams, the one they pick, the one you'll know by. Don't you ever ask them why, if they told you you would cry, so just look at them and sigh, and know they love you.
Let's see, I think Kathy Sunkel has a little announcement about her Artist's Way class that she's going to be offering here in the next few weeks. So I'm going to let her make an announcement.
First off, thanks. That brought back a lot of memories. Some I'll let it forget. Artist Way, let me just tell you to what you talked about with Roses Are Red. This teacher told little first graders to get the paper out and start drawing with their crayons, and she walked around with pride as she saw the rainbows and the green trees, and she came to one of this little boy, and she goes, "Well, what are you drawing?" She looked down, she didn't know it, and he said, "I'm drawing God." And she said, "Well, nobody knows what God looks like." And he said, "Well, just give it a minute." That's what the Artist Way is about. It's about using your spirituality, connecting with the artist within you. We are all artists. We all have that gift to express ourselves. And we can paint trees green or orange or blue. And what it's going to do is teach you how to be on that journey in a different way and in a closer way, in a spiritual way. So it really is a neat course. And we're offering it twice on Sunday and on Tuesday nights. And Marianne has all the information.
Great.
Thanks, Kathy. Kathy's going to be leading that, and there are flyers on it in the back. There's also flyers in the back for the October seminar. Every fall, we try to bring some kind of cutting-edge thinker in to do some kind of push your thoughts, push your awareness. And this year, we're just incredibly fortunate. The first weekend of October, we're bringing Gary David, who is the editor and probably current lead thinker in the area of epistemics, which is applied epistemology. Thanks for asking what that is. It's about how you and I as human beings make meaning and understanding some about the human meaning-making apparatus. If you want to kind of get a little deep this fall into learning some things about human beings and human consciousness, Gary David is probably one of the most knowledgeable and makes it understandable kind of guys that you'll ever meet. And he is a joyous 80-year-old who looks like he should be 50. So it must be working for him. Yeah. So I invite you to check out the flyers. There's a little information in the back of the bulletin about that, but there's some flyers in the back. We're calling it something about learning your way into the world, because he talks about the whole sense of, if we really understand what learning is, how that works epistemically within us, we would understand some things about everything we are capable of being really involves this process. So if you've struggled with issues in your life, or you've struggled with trying to make some changes in your life, come learn about how learning is involved in that and the real art of learning. The book, The Art of Awareness, is the one that Gary David edited. So those are just a couple of quick announcements, and we're so glad that you're here with us. If this is your first time, we've got a little gift for you. There's a little CD of some music of the band we'd love to give to you. Just check back in the back, and they'll be happy to give you one of those. Let's take each other's hands, and we'll say a prayer together. Holy One, there are several prayers on our hearts for those people who are struggling today, for big decisions that are being made by individuals and governments, for concerns and fears that so easily could carry us away if we did not have the courage and conviction that faith and love somehow will always triumph. If not today, one day. And in our families and in our growing up, in our struggle to become who we are meant to be, may we feel your grace. May we feel loved. May we feel accepted for this journey that we each travel, and give each other support and love for that pilgrimage of life. So we pray. Amen.
It's not time to make a change. Just sit back Take it easy, you're still young, that's your fault. There's so much you have to know. Find a girl, settle down. If you want, you can marry. Look at me, I am old and I'm happy. I was once like you are now, and I know it's not easy to be calm when you found something going on. Take your time, think a lot. Why think of everything you've got? For you'll still be here tomorrow, but your dreams may not. How can I try to explain? When I do, he turns away again. It's always been the same old story. From the moment I could talk, I was ordered to listen. There's a way, and I know that I have to go away. I know I have to go. Change. Just sit down, take it slowly. You're still young, that's your fault, and there's so much you have to go through. Find a girl, settle down. If you want, you can marry. Look at me, I am old and I'm happy. All the times that I cried, keeping all the things I knew inside. It's hard, but it's harder to ignore it. They were right, I'd agree, but it's them, you know, not me. Now there's a way, and I know that I have to go away. I know I have to go.